coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
President Donald Trump has issued the first veto of his presidency. The president overruled Congress to protect his emergency declaration for border wall funding. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jordan Berger.
And I'm Monica Harkins. Thanks for joining us. A dozen Republicans joined with state Democrats yesterday to back the joint resolution disapproving of Trump's emergency declaration.
The Democrat-sponsored resolution would terminate vital border security operations by revoking the national emergency issued last month. It is definitely a national emergency. Rarely have we had such a national emergency.
Some Republicans say they believe the emergency declaration could create a dangerous precedent.
Already, Democrat presidential candidates are saying they would declare emergencies to tear down the existing border wall, to take away guns.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the House will vote on March 26th whether to override the veto. A two-thirds majority of Congress is required to override.
And we had quite the windy day today. As we head into the afternoon hours, still a little bit on the windy side, but not quite as crazy winds as we saw earlier today or last night as well. 14 miles per hour in Kansas City, 19 over in St. Louis. But if you look out towards the south of Dodge City, where those winds look to be spiraling in direction, that is actually where we have a high pressure system. That's sitting just to the south of Dodge City, Kansas and Wichita. And what that high pressure is going to do is tomorrow it's going to slide closer to mid-Missouri, really pushing out any remaining cloud cover and giving us quite sunny conditions over the next couple of days. So here's your sunshine timeline for you. For tomorrow and for Sunday, very sunny conditions. A little bit less sunny for Monday and Tuesday, but overall pleasant conditions. I'll have your hour by hour later on.
All right, Megan James, thanks so much. Today, the world is mourning with New Zealand after the devastating massacre at two mosques. At least 49 people were killed, the alleged shooter streaming the attacks live on Facebook. NBC's Blaine Alexander is in Washington, where reaction is pouring in from across the country.
Pain in New Zealand felt across the U.S. President Trump expressing his sympathy.
You've all been seeing what went on. It's a horrible, horrible thing. I told the Prime Minister that the United States is with them all the way.
In the nation's capital and across the country, mosques stepping up security. Police in New York standing watch during early morning prayers. From the Council on American Islamic Relations.
Do not abandon your mosques. Not today, not ever. They want you to be afraid. You should not be afraid.
In Christchurch, New Zealand, dozens killed during an attack on two mosques, streamed live on Facebook and later taken down. This freeze frame showing the presumed shooter driving to one of the locations. Online, a 74-page apparent manifesto laying out a white supremacist viewpoint and, at one point, referring to President Trump. Were or are you a supporter of Donald Trump, the author writes, as a symbol of renewed white identity and common purpose? Sure. As a policymaker and leader? Dear God, no. The president asked today whether he sees white nationalism as a rising threat around the world.
I don't really. I think it's a small group of people that have very, very serious problems. I guess if you look at what happened in New Zealand, perhaps that's a case. I don't know enough about it yet.
Now, a nation widely considered one of the safest in the world, coping with devastating tragedy. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Washington.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo held a briefing this morning at the State Department. Pompeo began the briefing by offering condolences to the victims and condemned the attacks.
The United States condemns this hateful assault. We pledge our unwavering solidarity with the government and people of New Zealand in this hour of darkness, and we stand ready to offer any and all assistance.
The United States is also beefing up security at mosques around the country, including right here in Columbia. Columbia police increased security presence at the Islamic Center of Central Missouri after attendees voiced safety concerns. Cars patrolled the area and stopped to check in all day. One Columbia police officer says their goal was to offer support to the Islamic community.
Our department's investing a little bit of manpower to be present here to bring comfort and to our neighbors that attend here.
Extra police officers were also deployed in Chicago, but at one mosque, it was prayer and business as usual.
We are not scared of anything like that, and we stay positive, we stay focused. However, we are vigilant all the time. as we all should, And again, it happened in New Zealand. Hopefully, we hope and pray that it won't happen here. So that's our prayer and hope. So.
Police in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New Jersey have all announced similar efforts.
In your local news, Governor Parson officially announced today Ken Zellers will lead the Department of Revenue after current director Joe Walters resigned. KOMU8's Jared Austin tells us what both Republicans and Democrats feel about the change. Jared?
Both House Democrats and Republicans feel this is a step in the right direction. Republican House Speaker Elijah Haar says more work needs to be done. Democratic Representative Kip Kendrick says it's not solely about moving forward, but being more transparent. A day after the word got out about Joel Walters' resignation, Governor Parson pegged Ken Zeller to take over at the department for now. Parson put out a statement saying, "I appreciate Joel Walters' willingness to devote 2 years of service to the state of Missouri. His leadership and transformative vision helped to turn around the Department of Revenue." But Democratic House member Kip Kendrick says it's more than that.
Showing that the department purposely shelved a press release from September that would have warned taxpayers about the surprise tax bills.
Walters said in his hearings he warned people on the department's Facebook and Twitter page. People on the special committee called it a lack of communication.
And the social media campaign is a farce.
Just over 3,000 people are connected with the Missouri Department of Revenue on Facebook and Twitter, but 3.6 million people filed a tax return claim in 2018. Now I'm going to put that in perspective for you here in the rotunda at the state capitol, as there are 144 seats here, but that would be like just me knowing and me calling somebody else about the issue. Republican Speaker Elijah Haar says the department has much more work to do to regain the trust of the public, and even gaining the trust of lawmakers.
Well, first off, the Department of Revenue needs to be transparent and honest with the public as well as lawmakers.
One thing both Democrats and Republicans agree on: the department's transparency will be the biggest ask of Zellers. Zellers will officially take over as acting director next Friday. In the studio, Jared Austin, KOMU8 News.
Prosecutors have charged a Missouri State Senator's chief of staff after police said his handgun fell to the floor during a bar fight. According to court records, prosecutors charged 45-year-old Jared Brown with unlawful use of a weapon and peace disturbance. Both are misdemeanors. Brown was arrested after police were called to Spectators Bar and Grill March 7th. Police say Brown was intoxicated at the time of the fight. Jared Brown is the chief of staff to Republican Senator Justin Brown from Rolla, no relation. Justin Brown says Jared Brown is taking a leave of absence. He is scheduled to appear in court April 19th. A plane flips over at the Moberly Airport. What the pilot is blaming for the accident.
Plus, people all over the world are protesting what they call a lack of action against global warming. We'll tell you about the rally right here in Columbia.
And call it the luck of the Irish, if you will, but we are expecting sunny conditions for tomorrow and for Sunday, St. Patrick's Day as well. I'll have your weekend hour-by-hour forecast later on.
But first, you're taking a live look over your capital city. The time is now 5:07 on this Friday afternoon. You're watching KOMU8 News, first at 5. Coverage you can count on.
The First Alert Weather Cam is brought to you by the law firm of Harper, Evans, Wade, and Nettemeyer. We will fight for you.
Welcome back, everyone. People in more than 100 countries all over the world are protesting what they call the lack of action against global warming. Today, students in New York City walked out of class, marched, and carried signs calling for action on climate change. Similar protests even took place right here in Columbia. KOMU8's McKenna Alexander was there today and is in the studio now to tell us more on the different opinions she heard today. McKenna?
Well, it sure was loud today with drums, chanting, cheering, and even some yelling. But some onlookers were upset with how the rally was organized. High school and college students marched through campus today every hour from 8 in the morning until noon, demanding action for climate change.
We need to take climate change into our own hands because the corporations are doing it for us, and this is what's happening to the world.
The national event says it aims to disrupt social order by skipping school in an attempt to force legislators to acknowledge its demands.
The future of our children is at stake. It's not even creating a better future at this point, it's creating a future in general.
The marches ended with an organized rally filled with shouts of passion and frustration as the call to action continued. But some onlookers felt the strike was swayed too politically, bringing tension to the rally.
Sit down and you speak with these Republican leaders, you speak with these Republican voters. They care about climate change, they care about environmental issues. They just don't know how to articulate it because movements like this are too much focused on anti-capitalism, anti-America.
Participants of the rally, however, feel that the issue of climate change goes deeper than environmental issues, citing an inequality when it comes to managing who is affected by it.
Rich people can. The white rich males, they can provide for themselves.
Because we're not working party lines. It's too partisan here, and I don't like that.
Those involved in the march today included members from Rockbridge Young Democrats, Mizzou Energy Action Coalition, and the Mizzou Democrats. In the studio, McKenna Alexander, KOMU 8 News.
And it wasn't a bad day to be outside temperature-wise, but it was very breezy throughout the day. 49 degrees for your high temperature, so just a little bit off of our average high of 55 degrees. I'll let you know when we're expecting a warm-up in the near future coming up.
Welcome back, everyone. Governor Mike Parson met this morning with his emergency management team to review and update flood response plans. Missouri River levels are expected to rise dramatically this weekend, with a 1.5-foot rise expected by Saturday in some areas. MoDOT is working with Nebraska, Kansas, and Iowa to prepare detour plans. The Missouri State Highway Patrol is preparing additional equipment, and swift water rescue personnel are on standby. A National Weather Service meteorologist is also embedded at the State Emergency Operations Center.
A plane flipped over in Moberly today. The pilot blames the wind. According to Moberly police, a single propeller plane was taking off from Omar Bradley Airport and had just left the ground when it flipped into a ditch. The pilot was taken to a hospital, but officials say he is okay. The runway is currently closed until the plane can be towed.
Well, we had a windy past couple of days. Let's check in on the weather here in mid-Missouri with our very own Megan James. Megan, what's going on this weekend?
Thank you, Jordan. Well, this weekend will be pretty sunny, and we are sunny right now. If you step out the door for the rest of the evening, it might be a little bit breezy for the next couple of hours, but then after that, we will calm down. 48 degrees is the current temperature right now, but those winds still on the stronger side. Taking a look at your sustained winds here, we're at 13 miles here in Columbia, out of the northwest, 16 up in Kirksville, a little stronger off to Kansas City as well, also at 16 miles per hour. Now, these wind gusts, even stronger than what our actual winds are at right now. 31 miles per hour in Columbia is what those wind gusts are topping out at currently. So very strong, still blowing around some trash cans, any loose items outside, but not quite doing the damage that we saw yesterday. That is the good news. And the other good news is that these winds will be dying down. As I stop the clock here at midnight, you can see these winds still primarily out of the west at Columbia, 5 miles per hour. They'll be between 5 and 10 for the most part until we head into the morning hours. By sunrise, those winds are definitely going to be on the calmer side. You might not even notice them as you step out the door. Now, taking a look out the door right now with our satellite and radar. Again, seeing those clear skies. Just a couple of clouds are lingering around currently, but those will start to move out of our area. That is thanks to this high pressure system that we have sitting off towards Kansas. That's going to start to slide over towards Missouri over the next couple of hours, and as we head into Saturday afternoon. Really, tomorrow in general will be quite the sunny day, a good day to get outside, and with that lack of wind, maybe a good day to clean up that yard, especially if you have some downed tree limbs. Now, we do have a low pressure system that's going to start to move in as well. That is going to stay to our north, and that's really not going to have a lot of impacts for us here at home, except for some of this cloud cover that we see here to the north of Interstate 70 by tomorrow morning. That will keep our temperatures from falling too much throughout the overnight hours. But the cold front in general really won't drop our temperatures too terribly much. As we continue through Sunday day into the afternoon, we're going to be seeing even more sunny skies. So a great day to get outside, enjoy any sort of St. Patrick's Day activities. Now for tonight, it's going to be on the cooler side at 28 degrees. But again, those winds not quite as breezy as they have been out of the northwest at 5 to 10. But since we won't see that cloud cover, those temperatures are going to be rapidly cooling, 20 degrees from where we are at currently. Now for tomorrow, a little bit more of a seasonal day at 52 degrees. Your average high is 55, but all throughout the day, it's going to be very sunny. Great day to be outdoors. I know myself personally will be outdoors enjoying this great weather. Now your next 8 days, I did mention earlier that we do have a bit of a warm up to look forward to. Before that, we're going to have a couple of cooler yet still fairly seasonal days. Monday, a little bit chilly at 50 degrees. But after that, we're going to start to warm up. Check that out, 65 degrees by next Friday. Before that, we do have a slight chance for some rain Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. But that's typical of Missouri, especially considering Wednesday is the first day of spring.
Tonight, the terror attack in New Zealand, live streamed by the killer. We look at who's responsible to police such images online. Also, how authorities became aware of that college admissions cheating scheme. When we see you back here tonight for NBC Nightly News.
And Disney World is raising its prices for certain times of the year. We'll tell you when the changes go into effect after this. Welcome back. The IRS says there is more than $1.4 billion in unclaimed tax refunds from 2015 waiting to be claimed. That's definitely not me. I make sure to get my claim every year. To claim that money, the 1.2 million taxpayers who didn't file a tax return that year would have to file them by April 15th of this year. People typically get the 3 years to claim their refund. Tesla has unveiled its new electronic SUV. CEO Elon Musk says the Model Y will offer the functionality of an SUV, but ride like a sports car. The company expects to release the standard version in the spring of 2021. It costs $2,500 to reserve a car. If you typically spend holidays at Walt Disney World, get ready to pay a little extra. The park rolled out some new price increases for peak holiday times. A one-day ticket between Christmas Day and New Year's Eve is up $30, bringing the cost to $159. 4th of July tickets will increase by $9 a day, and non-holiday tickets will stay at $109 per day, all to go see the magic of Disney World. A study suggests more older adults are getting injured walking their dogs. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania says this doesn't mean you should hang up the leash. Researchers stress the importance of obedience training. They also suggested that older Americans try to own smaller dogs.
We'll have a recap of our top story, plus a final look at your weather when we come back.
Coming up tomorrow on KOMU 8 News Today.
Do you have torn clothing, faulty electronics, squeaky bikes, or broken small appliances? Well, an event Saturday morning will help you learn how to repair them. We'll give you the details.
And all the river flooding is going to be happening on the Missouri over the next couple of days and into next week. We'll have the details on that, plus look at your weekend forecast.
Great days begin with great mornings. KOMU 8 News Today, Saturday at 6 and 9 a.m.
Welcome back. Governor Parson officially announced today Ken Zellers will lead the Department of Revenue after current Director Joe Walters resigned. KOMU's Jared Austin tells us both what Republicans and Democrats feel about the change.
Ken Zellers will be acting director for the Department of Revenue, where he has been serving as COO. Both House Democrats and Republicans believe this is a move in the right direction. Parson said he's happy with Walters' service, but Democratic Representative Kip Kendrick said he wants more transparency from the department. He says the department hid a press release from September that would warn people about a miscalculation in tax returns. In the studio, Jared Austin, KOMU 8 News.
Now here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News at 6. Mid-Missouri's I-70 task force just wrapped up its first meeting to discuss options for Missouri River Bridge.
Leaders from all over Mid-Missouri were there, but what did they accomplish? That's at 6 o'clock. Megan?
If you're headed out tomorrow morning, it's going to be a little bit chilly as our low temperature is around 28 degrees. But the good news is that we will warm up towards seasonal by the afternoon hours. Plenty of sunshine all throughout the day and significantly less windy than what we saw today as well.
What a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
I know. I'm excited that we're finally getting that stretch of warmer weather. I'm just praying it sticks around. It doesn't. We don't take a dip back into the winter time.
I'll take warmer than 50s. This is not that warm to me.
Well, hey, towards the end of next week, 60s.
There we go. Just in time for springtime.
NBC Nightly News is coming up next.
On air, online, on Facebook, on Twitter, on the News app, and the Weather app. KOMU 8 News. Coverage you can count on.